What's up, guys? Today I've got a box to open, and as you know, every single day and every video is different, but today I've got another piece of camera equipment, and it's a really big box. So as you can see, I'm standing and I'm gonna have my table just kind of come up for the big reveal. So inside this big fat GVM box is the GVM SD300D bicolor Monolight. And not just the light, this is also the studio kit. And so let's just get into this unboxing and let's get through it as quickly as I possibly can. So this is just a real quick video, but here's a couple of details that I have for you guys. So this light is a 300-watt light. It has the same bicolor settings as my newer light panels that I got, and so that's one of the reasons why I got this. And it comes with a soft box, or lantern more accurately, which is this, and then it also comes with a stand. So I'm going to go ahead and just take everything out and talk to you a little bit about why I chose this light, and probably why, if I could do it again, I would choose something else. Okay, so just real quick. It's very well packaged, and GVM, or Great Video Makers, is a good company. Okay, they have good products, and I have bought from them before. I have some stands from them. I also have a camera slider from them that I'll be making a video about in the future. So you can see on the top down, inside this box, we have the light. Obviously has a large power box, and then here's the light itself. Okay, and then there's a couple of different attachment pieces to go with it. And then the cable. And it looks like that is everything for that box. So all in all, this really is a totally decent light, especially for the amount of money that it costs. $300 sounds like a lot, but if you know, you know. Camera equipment and videography equipment is extremely expensive, and it is just really easy to get caught up in buying all sorts of new and interesting equipment, thinking that it's going to make your product better, your creative abilities better. That is really not true. But there is a kind of a line where there is a real need for certain equipment. So like having this table, and having a tripod for my camera, and having a monitor, and having some light source are all very real necessities. But I just got this because I felt like I needed to have softer light, more control, and also just a monolight to get that direct light source. Whereas what I have right now are two LED lights from Newer, and they're pretty good. They're like a 14-inch panel. They're very bright, they're adjustable, they work well, but it's not giving the brightness that I need, especially in this room. So even around me, there's still a lot more shadows than I'd like to have. And so hopefully this big old light is gonna fix all that. So just real quick, just gonna set everything up more or less. And I really cannot overstate it. For the amount of money, okay, for the $300, this is a good quality. But there are some downsides that I'll talk about and that you guys can see in other videos. So the biggest downside with the SD300D is that the color temperature adjustments are off, okay? And that's actually pretty common in a lot of lighting equipment. But on this particular light, and a guy named Mark Bennett, he made a YouTube video about this light, a fantastic review going over how much it is off. He actually took measurements to see the difference of the light coloring. But all you need to know is that it is off, and it's not too bad, but you're just not going to hit those fine-tuned settings that you would, really need if you're a professional. So this is very much an amateur piece of equipment, and that's why it has an amateur or a budget price. If you're strapped, if you're just totally balling and you can buy whatever equipment you want, There are some other options, like Godox has a lot of good key lights and monolights, and I have never heard anyone say anything bad about aperture lights. So if you have $700 instead of $300 to spend on a light, then aperture is probably going to be a better way to spend your money. But all in all, this is a good light. So I'm just going to try and put everything together real quick for you, so you see how it's done, how easy it is, and then we'll be done with this video. So okay, so we have the light, and it has a couple of different pieces. There's a cover which just kind of rotates off, if I can get it to go. Let's see. Okay, so there's a lock on the side that has to be released, and then it can turn and pull off. And so you can see on the top down here, what we have is the LED panel. It's about 1.5 inches in diameter, and onto this you can attach different covers. So this is obviously the protective cover, but right here would essentially kind of be what gives it a softer look and definitely protects it. So just go ahead and attach that like so, and then you'll notice that this has your standard lighting attachment, so that you can go ahead and put your softbox or put your lantern or put the hood on if that's what your plan is. So again, very simple, just locks in place. If you want to take it off, then you just pull back on this little switch, rotate off, pull it away. So it's fully adjustable, and it has basically 360 degrees of motion inside this cage. And then there's interlocking teeth. So I do have one concern with this, and it's something that everyone should know about GVM by now, is that their stuff works, it lasts pretty well, but it is not the highest quality, okay? And so if you pick this up, I can just feel it. I could be blind and I could know that this is not as nice as something like an aperture light. You can just tell by the weight, you can tell by kind of the durability feel of the materials that it's just not, it's not quite on par. And even looking closer, you can see this detail of the locking teeth here, so that it won't rotate once you put like a heavy softbox out on the front. And they do the job, but they're very small. And so I think that those are likely to wear out realistically over time. This is going to be kind of tricky to do this, so I'm going to move my table down a little bit. But realistically speaking, this is a good light for, I would say, people like me. Very mediocre content creators, not very experienced. They just need a good light source. And I think that that is just going to hit right on. So I'm just going to loosen this and see if I can get it to attach, and then just locking it on right there. So all in all, we've got the light, got everything. The last thing to do is just throw that softbox on there and see what it looks like. So let's do that. And the softbox or the lantern comes in this little carrying case, which I guess is nice. And just try and pull it out without damaging it, hopefully. So there's kind of two pieces to it. There's the frame, which are essentially these wires, and then there's the canopy, or the lantern itself. So just very quickly, I'm gonna go and toss this on over. So there's two sides to this, and it should be pretty explanatory which is which. But this is the attachment side, because you can see it has those big feet that are gonna lock in onto the Monolight itself. And you can see that the lantern sheath has this heat treat, which is gonna be on the side closest to the light itself. So I assume that it just slips over like so. and you just go ahead and center it up. Okay. And I really don't know if I'm doing this right or not, but I'm just using these elastic straps to go over the top, and now I'm pushing down, okay? And you're gonna push down, and in the center, there's a little bar that locks in place, okay? So, once it's locked in place, it will maintain its shape just like this. You can see it's very large. It's actually kind of tough to get it into frame. It's about as large as a beach ball, but obviously not circular or spherical. It's kind of a elliptical shape. So, just gonna go ahead and throw it on, and struggling a little bit right here because I can't see, but there we go. So let's see what we've got. Oops. Okay, so this is what we're working with. We have the lantern put on our Monolight on the stand that it came with, 300 bucks. Okay, so you just got to keep in mind, this is what you're getting. You've already heard me say it 5 times in this video. I think that this is a wholly adequate product, and I think that it's going to be totally useful and good for, I wouldn't say the majority, but I would say for, you know, quite a number of content creators, people who don't have super high expectations, people who don't have professional needs or even professional skills. This is just going to be an amateur piece of equipment, hence the amateur price. All in all, good product. Thanks for watching this unboxing. As always, like and subscribe, share it. I hope you find it helpful. And if camera and videography gear is kind of one of your things, one of your hobbies, check out my playlist on building a YouTube channel and all the equipment that I use. Thanks so much for watching.